yeah. Can't escape from the truth. Deep within lies of proof. The evidence is off the meter. Oh, you're as guilty as your leader. We're living in a nightmare. Oh, yeah. If you could see what I see, yeah, we're living in a nightmare. Oh, yeah. If you could see what I see, yeah, we're living in a nightmare. Oh, yeah. If you could see what I see, yeah, we're living in a nightmare. Oh, yeah. If you could see what I see, yeah, we're living in a nightmare. We are living in a
Welcome back to the show. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Woman Wednesday. Shouts out to all of the beautiful ladies out there listening to TDSS. It's your day. It's the day that the Lord has made. It's Woman Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. At the top of the hour, the 1 p.m. hour, and this is the power hour right now, but at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the Jeff Fox Show returns to the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Following him at 2 p.m. is Cooking with the Microwave, my man John Fisher. And at 9 p.m. tonight, the Wait a Minute Show with Jelani. All right, so stay tuned to all of that today live, not Memorex, but live. I do hope that, and I'm knocking on wood here, I hope I don't jinx myself because we've made it this far. But if you're in Atlanta, you know this. Man, we got some hellacious storms going on outside. I mean, like, real hellacious thunderstorms going on in metro Atlanta. Have been for like the last couple of days. Yesterday was pretty decent in the evening, but the day before we had some real harsh weather, like tornadoes touching down and severe thunderstorms. And you know, this show and this network is web-based, but praise his holy name, we haven't had any issues today so far. Do we have any wood around here? This isn't a wood table, but this is going to have to do. So let's knock on wood that we don't have any issues today. So tune in to Stewart Media and Entertainment all day long. Make sure and hit the follow button on Spreaker.com so that when this show or any other show on the network goes live, you'll get an alert on your phone. And you can just click play. These are live shows, not recorded, but live shows, all right? A live stream of the plane landing at Raleigh-Durham Airport flashed across the video screen inside the Dean Smith Center, and nearly 20,000 fans went crazy, man. And cameras followed each move the Tarheels motorcade made from the airport to the highway down Franklin Street as fans stood along the sidewalk and cheered. The Carolina Tar Heels came home, man, with the national championship after winning and beating in the finals of Gonzaga, man, winning the 6th national championship in school history. Yeah, for the Tar Heels, seniors spoke along with All-American Justin Jackson and Final Four MVP Joel Berry. They mentioned it over and over and over again in these little speeches, man, talking about redemption and what happened last year with Villanova and losing at the end like they did. But North Carolina, man, can you imagine 20,000 people? They love their basketball now in Tar Heel country, in tobacco country. Also, the game, one last note about the national championship game from a couple nights ago. The game actually had a boost in viewership by 30% from last year. That's right. Viewership for the national championship game between Gonzaga and North Carolina was up 30% from last year. The finale on Monday night, which aired on CBS, was watched by an average of 22.998 million viewers. According to figures released by Tuesday by Nielsen, the game peaked at 26.1 million viewers from 11:15 to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Also garnered a record 4.4 million live video streams, Nielsen reported. The NCAA tournament, broadcast by both CBS and Turner Sports, was the second most watched men's tournament in 23 years. Huh? Let me go back and look at that again. Wait a minute. Let me go back and look at the last 23 national championship games in college basketball and see. Because, I mean, this was a great game, obviously. And you had North Carolina, but it wasn't North Carolina against Kansas or anything like that. It wasn't North Carolina versus UCLA. It was North Carolina versus Gonzaga. So I would never have guessed that this game was the most watched game in 23 years. So let me look back at the national championships between now and 2017. So you're talking 2007, 1997, so like 1994. So you had North Carolina versus Gonzaga, Villanova versus North Carolina. You had Connecticut versus Kentucky. Connecticut, kind of a big name program. You had Kentucky versus Kansas in 2012. And then you had Butler playing the game a couple of times, once against Connecticut and Duke. Ain't nobody trying to see no damn Butler. So Kentucky versus Kansas back in 2012, that was a big one. You had Kentucky or Kansas versus Memphis. Memphis was a small market team. Then you had Florida win a couple, or go to a national championship 2 times in a row. They won both of those. So Florida's not a big-time college basketball program. North Carolina and Illinois, and Connecticut and Georgia Tech. That was when Paul Hewitt first got to Georgia Tech, and they had Jared Jack. Remember that? They played against Connecticut, lost. Georgia Tech, national brand. They had it really going on when Bobby Crimmins was here back in the day. I can understand that. Syracuse and Kansas in 2003. That's a big matchup. Maryland and Indiana, Michigan State and Florida, Connecticut, Duke. Okay, Kentucky, Utah. I don't know. I see a couple of more matchups in here that are questionable, but like Duke and Kansas back in 1991, that's too far. We're going back to 1994. So since 1994, the last 23 years, Duke and Arkansas, yeah, okay, I can kind of see that. You had, I can't see it because Gonzaga doesn't have a national brand like that. Very interesting, but they had the best ratings for the national championship game in the last 23 years. So interesting. I guess people were tuned in wanting to see if David could slay Goliath. Maybe they had that working factored into the whole thing as well, but big-time numbers for CBS in the national championship game. Yeah. Okay, so 1994 was 23 years ago, and I'm not sure if the year prior to the year before, but let's go back to 1994. Arkansas, where I talked about South Carolina playing like Arkansas back in the day, 40 minutes of hell. So you had Arkansas take on Duke in 1994. So I guess that game was the next biggest viewed game in the last 23 years. That was pretty big. In 95, you had Arkansas make it again, so UCLA versus Arkansas. And if you go back 1 year before Arkansas and Duke, you had North Carolina taking on Michigan. So maybe they went back to that year. Maybe that's the 23 years in culmination. So North Carolina and Michigan with the Fab Five back in 1993. That probably was the last most viewed college basketball game. You had Duke. Everybody and their mama hate Duke. And I'm sure a lot of America hated Michigan. The baggy pants, the bald heads, all of these freshmen, brash, talking a lot of shit, a lot of cash shit. And so that's probably at North Carolina versus Duke. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. From Sidney Jackson in the chat room on Spreaker.com. I can't believe that many people stayed around to watch the refs. Yeah, I think what Sidney Jackson is saying, that he turned the game off, or that the game was so bad and officiated so bad that he turned it off. I can understand that it's a bad game, but I wasn't going to turn it off. I wanted to see what was going to happen. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people watch, the championship game, and even though it's bad or it's bad officiating or it's slow, that you just turn it off. DC Cavalier says, okay, TBS last year, that may be why the ratings increase. Right, you're on network TV on CBS as opposed to cable TV with TBS. From Clay All Natural Joe Davis, Grant Hill was in that title game in 1994. Ooh, yeah, so you had some big-time name players as well. If you're talking about Grant Hill and Leitner. Was Leitner on that team? Might have been. Then you had all of the Fab Five dudes with Weber and Jalen Rose and them cats. That would have been a big one, definitely. From J. Clyde, since the DC, yeah, they were saying since it was back on network TV this year, the ratings would obviously go up as well. And that's probably it. It was on CBS. Most of us don't think that everybody doesn't have cable, but some people don't have cable. And some people, if you get Fire Stick, there's no network TV on Fire Stick. That's the only problem with Fire Stick. They got to work out a deal with the three major networks. As soon as they do that, man, I mean, it's perfect. I actually had to get the basic cable package just so I could have CBS, NBC, and ABC, which is like, $17 a month or like $21 a month or whatever. But I had the Fire Stick, man, and, it became so many different times where, the big sporting event was on network TV. So I'd have to go out and get, or go out to a sports bar or whatever, Applebee's or Jocks and Jills or whatever, man, to watch the darn game that I had to see because I had to come on here and talk about the damn games. And so that got real tiring. So I had to go ahead and break down and get a basic cable package. So it gets you one way or the other. Clay All Natural Jill Davis. Not a lot of people have cable when the game was on CBS. I would have never guessed that the majority of people in this country didn't have cable. Now, once again, a lot of people have switched to streaming TV. A lot of people have satellites or whatever, but on satellite, don't they have the major networks, CBS, ABC, and NBC? And, but I guess because so many people are now switching over to streaming TV, Roku, Fire Stick, or whatever, that they ass out. And so, very, very interesting. From J. Clyde Censors, or from my corporate brother, Doug, you really need to get schooled in how to maximize your viewing experience. I ain't paying ish. Get you an HD antenna. I got an antenna, man, but it didn't work good. It doesn't work good. And the antenna that I had, and maybe I need to get a higher grade antenna. So I tried to do that. I tried to get an antenna, old school antenna, before I actually had to break down